Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Checkride Chat. Today we're going to talk about true airspeed. A little bit of a misconception. This is a typical check ride of mine, a private or a commercial, where we're doing a VFR cross-country component. We take off and I'll tell the applicant, okay, let me know when we're at our first checkpoint and how we're doing on time. And we'll get to a point and they'll say, okay, we're at the first checkpoint, we're a minute behind. Okay, we're at the second checkpoint, it's the railroad tracks and the river, we're 3 minutes behind. And I might say to them, what true airspeed did you, first of all, we're flying around like this and the airplane's shaking.
But they're trying to fix their altitude. Well, come on.
You know, I'll say, what's our true airspeed? What true airspeed did you plan for? And they'll give me a number, maybe 108 knots. And I'll say, well, how did you get that? And a lot of times people say, well, that's just what we use. So, well, but how did you get that? Well, that's just what we use. And that's not what we're looking for. Hopefully they say, well, I dove into the POH and...
But what's that, Wally?
Yeah. The performance section of the POH, and it says 108 knots. And I will say to them, well, what is our true airspeed right now? And they'll point to the airspeed indicator and they'll say it's X, whatever, 97. I said, well, is that true airspeed? And, sometimes you get the awkward silence. It's not true airspeed.
It's indicated.
It's indicated.
Because it's what you're reading off of an airspeed indicator.
Yeah, it's the speed that's indicated, would be indicated airspeed. So how do we compute what our true airspeed is? And here's a real simple rule of thumb for it. First of all, a lot of the older airplanes
window.
Yeah, there's a little window in the airspeed indicator. I venture to say that really nobody ever uses that. Nobody knows how to use that. And in some of the extremely modern airplanes, sometimes true airspeed is just displayed for you.
It's
the
calculated.
G1000, it's calculated.
The G1000, the 275s do it.
Yeah.
I think so, not Avidyne, the Dynan. The
Yeah.
Dynan,
Yeah.
that
Yes, it does.
avionics suite indicates it.
Yeah.
Cool. It's very cool.
Yeah. But so how do we figure that? Well, it's very simple. It's basically 2% per 1,000 feet. So let's give an example. We are at 4,000 feet and we are indicating 100 knots. Well, I hope that most of you could figure out that 4,000 feet, again, 2% per 1,000 feet, so 4 times 2 is 8. Hopefully we don't need calculators for that.
I just took my shoes off. Well.
Yeah. 8% above 100 is another 8, so an indicated airspeed of 100 knots is 108 knots true airspeed. Down to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 feet, it's
negligible.
Yeah, the numbers.
Yeah.
You get up to, let's say we're flying at 11,000 feet. Well, that's 22% different. We fly our big airplanes up at 35,000 feet. That's 70%.
And our indicated is not low, but our indicated is mid 200s.
Yeah.
240 to 280, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But our true is up into the 4s.
Yeah, 480, 470.
So it's like a high 4.
Yeah.
So are we going 280 knots, 200? No.
Yeah.
We're going much, 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 much quicker.
Yeah. True airspeed. So that poor man's way of calculating true airspeed. If you ever are looking to buy an airplane, you want to buy an airplane, and you're going
almost bait and switch.
Yeah,
it's almost.
The person that's trying to sell you the airplane will always tell you the cruising speed of the airplane in true airspeed
in miles an hour.
And miles per hour. They'll say it'll true out at 172 miles an hour because that's the biggest number. That's the biggest
miles
number.
an hour are always higher, right? So,
yeah.
Like the 421, I love 421s. If I could afford it, that would be the family truckster. Love that airplane. But everybody, it's a 210, 215 knot airplane. Okay, but you have to get up to altitude
Yeah.
to do that.
Right.
And that is and this is, I think, the next part of this, or it's the next, we're going to do a little foreflight thing. That has nothing to do with wind.
Yes.
So the wind that's the unknown variable, but you should be calculating all your flight plans in true, and then you kind of come back, you use all your performance calculations, and that's what you're planning on a ground speed, and that's what everything's based off of, right?
Yeah.
So true is through the air. The higher you go, the higher the true airspeed.
Yeah, you can't control the winds. So the winds are, you can't control it in that you can't control the speed of it. You can maybe adjust altitudes to get to some more favorable winds.
Hence, that's the advantage of a turbocharged aircraft.
Right. Right.
You can go above you can go find no wind or a tailwind where you're normally aspirated, naturally aspirated, however you want to say it. Sorry, you're stuck kind of below the 10 marker.
Right. Yeah, I've got a turbocharged Saratoga, and it's not unusual for me to go one direction at
super low,
super low, come super high. Exactly.
Just to avoid the wind.
Yeah. And I would say this to all the CFIs and everything. What we see with the flight schools is we just cruise around at extremely slow speeds, and I get it. You guys are building flight time. You're not building miles, so you might as well go slow to make this cross country last longer. But it's really not realistic. I would think that in your training, I think you would do your student service by saying, okay, let's fly part of this cross country at a higher airspeed. Yeah. Things sound different. The airplane feels different. The pitch, the attitude of the airplane is different. So I think that's, a lot of times on a check ride, we have a limited amount of time because I've got another check ride. There's another guy sitting there waiting for his instrument ride, and if I don't get back in time. So
there's a school that it's everywhere is 90.
Yeah.
And so the instruction almost every time is max forward speed.
Yeah.
Max forward speed. Forward speed.
Yep. And a lot of times the applicants look at me and they go, well, I've never done that. So
we're doing it today.
Let's do it today. And no, guess what? When you add power, it's going to want to pitch up, so you're going to have to trim down. You're going to have to counteract it. So anyway.
Cool.
All right. So that's True Airspeed. Anything else for that?
Nope. All good.
All right. We'll see you next time. And again, we're going to put our emails up there. You got any questions, suggestions, comments for us, please email us, hit like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time.